standing at the top of our mats, we can bring our hands into a mudra. So this mudra or hand position is designed to help us bring joy into our lives. It is called the letting go gesture. Bringing my hands into this mudra, I let go of stress and negativity as I move toward a state of pure joy. It is supposed to create a gentle internal breeze that blows away the pollution of life and stale ideas. We also call it our Charlie's Angel Mudra or our Yogi Gun, but the thumbs are crossed over. So first fingers together, but then the thumbs cross. We can hold this at our heart. So first finger released, other fingers interlaced, and our thumbs are crossed over. And let's start with our heart-focused breathing. Noticing the movement of the rib cage with every breath in. Noticing our internal drumbeat of our hearts. And as we breathe, it may be interesting to note that our heart feeds itself with oxygen first before the rest of the body. An interesting note on self-care that we could learn from. Breathing into our heart space here, we may like to picture a candle in our hearts, feeling the warmth in our hearts spreading to the rest of the body, despite the cold outside. And we may like to repeat an affirmation to ourselves, something along the lines of, I am open to joy, I make room for joy, I can move in a joyful way. Well, the idea on our card was, I release negative energy. I allow joy to come into that space. We might like to do just a little mental check-in head to toe, noticing how we're feeling. And if it's of use to you, we can release our mudra and then bring our hands to any area that is maybe not feeling so great. So if we want to take care of our low back, we could place a hand there. Or wherever else it may be for you, as a reminder to yourself to always take care. And then let's all release our mudra. We can inhale, arms up to the sky, and exhale, hands down through heart center. Matching breath to movement. We can still keep the image of a candle in our hearts and breathing into our heart space as we go. So we are going to create heat, create warmth, and let's see if we can move in a joyful way today. Let's do one more here. And then we're stepping back to face the long edge of our mats, coming into sun and moon flowers here. Again, can we find a way to move with joy? Inhaling, we're sweeping our arms up, and exhaling, lowering down into moon flowers. We can keep matching breath to movement. And then yogi's choice. We can repeat our affirmation to ourselves. I make room for joy. We can focus on that candle in our hearts, or maybe we're focusing on the growing heat in our muscles. We can add on here, inhaling up and then hinging forward from our hips, like we are reaching towards the floor to pick up a dropped Christmas stocking or something along those lines. So this is great body mechanics, functional movement. When we're picking things up off the floor, we should be hinging from our hips. So we have a crease in the front of our hips, in our pocket kind of area, a neutral spine, and we bend the knees. That is what it means to be lifting with our legs and not our backs. A knee bend rather than a back bend. Perfect. Let's find a way to move in our own time. Everyone has their own natural rhythm of life. And then the next time we're at the top, let's meet there, stretch tall. Might feel good to interlace the fingers and some free movement here. Can we move in a joyful way? We don't have to be too serious about it. We can shake the hands off. Let's come back into that mudra. So we're interlacing our fingers. We have just our first finger released to the top. We're going to lower and lift again. So let's lower down and then reach tall to the sky. Lower down. And we can add a pulse at the bottom. So we're breathing out at the bottom and then reach tall. Inhale, exhale, 3, 2, 1. Okay, just one more here. Let's reach tall. We'll bring hands to heart and we'll step to the top of the mat. So we'll bring our feet hip width-ish apart for our chair flow. So we're sitting down and back into chair and then standing tall. If it feels good, we can do that same pattern. So we lower down, 3, 2, 1, and then reach tall. If it's more comfortable for the shoulders, we could reach forward. As long as we are here, we're in good shape, and then everything else is icing on the cake. Using this position in our hands to remind ourselves, we can release anything we like in order to make room for joy. Okay, last one here. And then let's release the arms. We can swing them by our sides. Maybe a little bounce in the knees. And we'll take it down to the mat. So we can inhale up, bending our elbows. We are hinging at our hips, swan diving forward. And let's come back into child's pose. So we can sit hips down and back, probably a familiar pose for us, but maybe we can approach it with fresh eyes today. Can we do child's in a way that feels a little joyful? That may mean movement, that may mean stillness. And we'll create just a little heat. So let's inhale forward into a plank. A little bit of a bend in the elbows. And then we're resting back into child's. Let's do that a few more times. We can inhale forward, spread fingers wide, strong core. Option to bend our elbows. And then we rest back in child's. Matching breath to movement. We're inhaling forward, breathing out to hold strong in our upper body work, whether that's plank or a yogi push-up. Let's do just one more. And then yogi's choice, we can rest back in child's, or we may prefer downward facing dog. Either way, we can invite some joyful movement into the body. And if we're not feeling particularly joyful today, that's okay. Shape it to make it how you like it. Maybe we feel we need to be more stable in our movements, or whatever else that might be for you. And we'll all come onto knees to move through cat and cow. So let's imagine that candle in our hearts again, and we're going to shine our hearts forward in cow, and then imagining the candle comes through our backs towards the sky in cat. So we can imagine that we are lighting the world, showing off our candle. So this might be a great visual for you. The image in your mind might be really pretty. The idea of the warmth from the inside out might be really useful. Or you might be more of a literal person that likes the thought of something in the center of your body as a guidepost to help move the rib cage. However you like it, make it work for you. Let's pause for a moment in cat, feeling the expansion in the back of the ribs as we breathe in. Reaching forward, feeling the expansion in cow. Coming back through center. And let's shift side to side. Getting some lateral flexion going. So we're opening one side of the rib cage at a time. We can do it in a joyful way, some free-flowing movement. It doesn't have to be too serious. We can be shifting our body weight. We can think of the rib cage as an accordion, or we can think about shining that candle out on one side and then out on the other. Let's pause and hold on one side, doesn't matter which. And we pause and hold on the other. Making our way back through center. We can rest back in child's or downward facing dog. And let's walk towards the top of the mat. Coming into forward fold yet again. Might feel good to hold our elbows or sway side to side. Give our heads a little shake. Let's come up halfway. We'll give the knees a bend. Neutral spine. We'll come up all the way. Let's bring hands to heart. And we are ready for flight of the bird. So we're going to alternate a short step back into warrior one. Doesn't matter which one goes first, right or left. We might like to come back into our mudra with just the first finger released. Building heat in our hearts and the rest of the body. Shining that candle forward. Hearts are lifted, tall and proud. We can show off our inner light. And once we're getting warm, we might like to make it a big step back into warrior one. Or, more boot camp style, we could lift the heel and do a lunge. So let's try one of each, and then settle on one that feels like a good way we'd like to spend our time today. And if we'd like to add arms, of course we can. Inhaling as we reach up, exhaling as we come down. We could be coming back into our mudra, reminding us to release negativity and make room for joy. Or we could be doing a simple flow of the arms. Whatever we choose, we're moving, we're breathing in time. Make it work for you. Okay, we'll go one more each way. Well, let's come back to the top of the mat, finishing off whatever we're doing. Pausing for a moment in mountain pose or a tall, confident posture, stretching our fingertips down towards the earth. Noticing how we're feeling now. There's no right or wrong way to feel. It's just an exercise in observation. let's come to face the long edge of our mat again. And we'll take our feet wider than hip width apart into kind of a Tai Chi stance. And we'll do one of these aggressive poses that's designed to move energy through the body, whatever that means to you. Or it can create an emotional shift. That's a bit more easy to picture, I think. So we're gonna pivot on our feet one way and then the other. So the heel has to lift. We have to turn our foot. If you're in running shoes on a carpeted floor, it might be kind of tricky. So we wanna be kind of light on that back foot so we can pivot, and we're gonna throw fire. So like in those movies where you can shoot a fireball out, that is what we are doing here. But I'm gonna say let's add on. We can have a bend in the knees for leg strength and pull the elbows back for back strength. We can add our breath. And it's a basic idea for a movement with a lot of room for personal expression. You can add more of a bounce, more of a strike. You can move more slowly. You can move more quickly. But let's keep the intensity of the power. That candlelight in us, shining our light to the world. Lots of back strength. We pull those elbows back. It's a bit late to say this now. If it makes you dizzy, just keep your eyes forward. Let's go a few more. Once more each way. We'll come back through center. And let's do something to bring our energy down just slightly. We'll do a little bit of work for our posture. So we're going to stand tall, reach forward, and pull back. Inhaling front, exhaling, we pull back. So we're still moving. But we're bringing that energy into a more grounded place. We had a lot of movement, a lot of flight everywhere. Let's make it more steady, more stable. We're going to add balance. So we inhale forward, exhale to lift one knee and balance. Excellent. Let's pause on one side, doesn't matter which. Tall posture, strong back. Often this time of year, in an effort to keep ourselves warm, we do a lot of stuff closing in. We pull back. Let's go the other way. Great. Okay, we'll let this go. Let's do some more typical warriors. To set our alignment, let's go from the mat. So we can inhale up and exhale down, making our way back into either downward dog or child's. Again, we might like a little break for some movement, or we might like to challenge our upper body and core strength by coming forward into a plank, a little bend in the elbows, and then resting back into downward facing dog. So we can inhale forward, plank or kneeling plank, push up or kneeling push up, and then resting back in down dog or child's. And we could be resting the whole time in child's or down dog, right? But if you are in the mood for some fire, we can get that upper body work going. Whatever we're doing, let's do one more. And we'll make our way into warrior one from downward facing dog. We can lift our right leg to create space, step it between our hands in a long lunge, and we'll plant that back foot down flat. To help us with our balance, we can climb up our front thigh, and we're in warrior one. So we've done some different options with our arms today, right? We could be very conventional with the arms overhead. We can hold that mudra, reminding us to invite joy, let go of anything that doesn't spark joy, or we can have this tall, confident posture. Well, let's keep these arms as we open to warrior two. whichever arms we prefer. And we'll make our way into side angle. So we can take hand or forearm to our thigh and stretch long. We can draw some big circles to loosen up the shoulder. We can wrap our top arm in behind our back. If side angle is our favorite, we can stay here, or we can straighten for triangle. It might feel good to look down and up, loosening up the neck. And then let's all bend the front leg, returning to warrior one body, and then let's add a lateral reach, reversing our warrior. So reaching up and away from me, getting a stretch down the right side of the body. To set up for the other side, let's take our hands down to the mat. And we're stepping back to down dog or child's. We'll take a moment to either have a breather and rest, or if we love those push-ups, we have enough time to do a couple here. We'll take it to the other side. So if we're in down dog, we can lift the left leg to create some space. Step our left foot between our hands, climb up our thigh, and we're ready for warrior one. Yogi's choice. We can have hands at heart. Maybe we like them overhead somewhere, or that strong pull-in that we just did. And let's go ahead and open to warrior two. I'm going to turn to face you, but we're on our left leg here, so the left leg is bent. Pausing for a moment, settling into our warrior two legs, knowing that any variation is fair game. So you don't have to monkey see, monkey do. Follow me exactly. Listen to your own inner teacher. If it feels good, do it. If not, make any kind of adjustment. We're ready for side angle. Left hand to left thigh, you're reaching towards me. We can loosen that top arm. And we can release the arm in behind the back if that feels good, or even just to rest it on the hip. Option to stay here or to straighten the front leg into triangle. A great one if you've been doing a lot of sitting, a lot of walking. This area gets quite tight. And it's not a bad thing. Whatever tension you have in your body, you probably earned it, right? Let's take our knee right back over top of our ankle, and now you're reaching up and away from me, warrior two legs, with a side bend. Let's take those hands down, and we'll make our way back to down dog or child's. Again, I'm going to turn so you can see me better. You can stay where you are. Hands at the top of the mat, feet at the bottom. We can rest in down dog or child's, or you may like to go through a push-up. But we are going to start to cool the heat here. If we're in child's, maybe we're shaking our hips off side to side or taking our hands side to side. If we're in down dog, we could do the same thing, hips off, or we can lift one leg at a time for additional stretch. And then let's meet in a kneeling lunge. So this time as the right foot comes between our hands, we're going to drop the back knee. No rush to get there, but we will meet there. We'll set up. This is a nice one often to have additional padding under the knee. If you're on a hard floor, just doubling your mat up may help. If you're on a squishy carpet like me, might not need anything. And we're gonna prep our quads for some flexibility. So we can shift forward and back. For you, it may not be a huge range of motion, and we can even do the same kind of thing from a standing position, okay? So that's up to you if we don't want to have any weight on the knee. Ideally, we want to make it so that the heel is always touching the mat. So if you took a tiny step forward and the heel is coming up and the knee is going forward, let's take the foot forward so that as you shift into the movement, your heel is still on the mat. And then we're shifting front and back to get stretched in the back of the front leg and in the front of the back leg. And our hands just hold us stable. We might like to return to our mudra one more time for a balance challenge, or hold on to something nearby to help us out. Let's come into our lunge. So it's our right foot forward. Let's take right hand to right knee. And now our left hand is free. We're going to open and circle. We'll keep sweeping through. Deep breath. Maybe we're slowing the breath down here to help us cool our bodies down. And let's go ahead and take both hands down. We'll switch sides. We can go through down dog or child's pose, but somehow let's take our left foot to the top. Might have to help it out. Convince it to take a big step so we have a comfortable amount of space between our front heel and our back knee. Gives us something to work with. You can also pop the toes, or we can keep the foot flat. So some freedom of movement. How can we move in a joyful way? How can we make any shifts to release anything that feels negative and turn it into a positive? So noticing how you as an individual are feeling at this point. Something might not be working for you. Maybe someone once told you not to put weight on your kneecap. You don't have to do it just because I am. So the idea is to stretch the back of one leg and the front of the other. That could mean that we're standing. We can have some creative variation of this, right? We're going to do another variation of this in a second anyways, so you'll get another chance. Of course, rest is always an option here too. If we're living in the now, we are in this class, our minds are here, and we are breathing intentionally, we're good. The poses are just a different way of working with the body. Okay, we're ready to move on. Here we go. We can make our way back to down dog or child's one last time. Our final chance for either a break or a push-up if you like it. And then we're gonna meet in forward fold. And forward fold can be a chance to remind us that the past is the past. We can give our heads a little shake. And we know the past doesn't just stop existing because we feel the heat of our hard work in our bodies. But we have a new moment to move into. Emptying out our heads with a little shake and then making our way up to standing. All right. Shaking out whatever needs to be shaken. Maybe rolling those shoulders. And we're ready for our balance pose. We will be standing on one foot, so we may like to hold on to something. Whatever you hold on to, make sure it's sturdy. And we'll take one foot to balance on. Let's pick our good side or our easiest side to start with. Might be a different easiest side than we had last time. And we're gonna bend and straighten one leg. We've been working on the strength in our back and our tall posture. Let's keep that going here. We might even like to hold this strong position. We can stay here and hold the leg up. If we'd like to move into a more typical dancer's pose, that is of course an option. Opening the shoulder like we've been doing and holding on to our ankle. We can reach the other arm up and away, strong back, heart lifted, shining that candle in our heart for the world to see, imagining that we are breathing into our heart space. Let's make sure we have that moment of success before we come out, and then when you are ready, we can come out. Might feel nice to circle the ankle. And we're ready for the other side. Here we go. Solid and grounded, tall and confident. We bend and straighten. It's a personal choice from day to day, whether we want to hold on to something or not. So just because we don't have to hold on to something doesn't mean we've graduated away from it. You may find that when you do hold on to something, your alignment's better, it's easier to breathe. It's just a different way of doing it. Okay, our option to hold up, or if you want to add on, any kind of dancer's pose that we like. Make sure we're still breathing, maybe sweating. When we feel good, we're ready to release. We're ready to make it down to the mat. Okay, I realized I forgot a pose. We're gonna throw it back in now. It's okay. Let's make our way down to the mat. And we gotta take our right foot back into our kneeling lunge. We didn't do our twists on this side. All right, so left foot in front, and now we can do these big sweeps with our right arm. So left foot, left hand on left thigh, and we are ready to loosen up. So one side might have felt a bit looser in the shoulder than the other. We'll survive. Let's take both hands down, and we'll make our way back into child's. And we'll start to wind things down, but we have a little bit more back strength to go. So let's come all the way down onto our bellies. We can release down gently or move through a push-up. And we'll do a cobra flow to help lengthen our abdominal muscles. Let's pause for a moment here on our forearms. The back of the neck is smooth, so no need to crane forward to look at me once you've seen what it looks like. We can tuck the chin so that we don't have any kinks in the neck. Might not be a huge back bend, but hopefully we're feeling some length through our abdominal wall. You may feel it as a stretch in the belly, same thing. And let's add that strength. So we're gonna take arms on either side of our bodies, palms facing our thighs, and then use our strength to lower and lift. Let's work with the breath. You may find it easier to inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down, or you may find the opposite to be easier. Or maybe not even just easier, but a different sensation that you prefer one way or the other. Option here to lift and hold for back strength, or we can add that quad stretch similar to our dancer's pose in a bow pose. No rush, so we don't have to hurry to get one or the other done. We have time to do both. Can we feel joyful with whichever option we choose? Can we make room for joy? Now, to rest our backs, might feel really nice to just lie here flat on the mat, or it might feel really nice to press up and back into cat. Yogi's choice. I will let you decide. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer to me. And sorry, Cecily, you are unmuted. I want to let you know before we get into our relaxation. All right, so we are doing either a cat stretch or relaxing, and then let's actually come on up and meet in a seated position. Good, let's do, yeah. Okay, so let's take a seat together. We've done a fair amount of high energy heat and moving. Let's do some more low energy, soothing, relaxing. So from a tall seated position, we'll do a simple side stretch. We can inhale one arm up and then leaning and lengthening the side of the rib cage. So whichever hand is up, we have that upward motion going in the hand, but a downward motion going in your bum and your shoulder. For added strength, we can lift the bottom hand away. We might even want to bring it back to that heart awareness, hand on the heart. And we did some tricep work today, so let's bend that top arm and we'll add a tricep stretch here. If anyone loves to reach in behind, we could add that. You don't have to clasp your hands. My bottom hand is actually just holding onto my sweater. Again, there's no hierarchy of poses. It's just moving in the way that we would like to move to feel somewhat joyful today. Let's take one more breath in. And we're ready for the other side. Here we go. Opposite arm up and over. And as much as our hand is reaching up, our bum and our shoulder can pull down. We can use this hand for support. We may like to lift it away, or focus on our breathing. We could also focus on the feeling of our heart rate slowing down. It's another kind of mind-body connection that we can come back to. Kind of interesting to see that over the duration of a single pose, our heart rate can slow down. All right, let's do our tricep stretch. We can hold our shoulders if we'd like. We can release. And we'll do a butterfly stretch. And we're going to stay seated for a moment after. So if by chance you have a block or something you'd like to sit on, you can. For butterfly, we'll bring the soles of our feet together. Might like to lift and lower to loosen up the legs. Might like to have our hands in behind to give our core a break and to still have a tall spine. And if we love to fold in half like a fold-away bed, we can. Noticing anywhere in our bodies where we're still gripping, and see if we can invite our muscles to soften. Sometimes it happens so easily, and then sometimes that little ball of tension stays there, and that's okay. That's just part of living in a human body. But at the very least, we can invite these tight spots where we're gripping, or maybe it's some other kind of negativity that we're holding on to. Can we release it? Can we invite in joy, peace, ease, comfort, or even noticing a feeling of warmth? And as we come back to seated, we can take our feet a little wider than they were before and windshield wipe to release some tension. If there's any lingering, and if there isn't, maybe we're noticing kind of a nice, fluid, loose movement. And we'll do some heart breathing, as we call it. I know that air does not literally go into our heart, it goes into our lungs. That's the only place where oxygen in the body should really go when we breathe. But we do it as a visualization, right? So if the visual helps you, fantastic. We can picture that candle in our hearts. We can picture that we are breathing into our heart space. We can just notice the movement of our rib cage. And we'll do a few rounds of this together. And then if you would like to do a little bit of a journal, I have some journal prompts that you can write if you would like, or you can stay here in a seated meditation and let the answers come to mind. So we can take a hand to heart, maybe one hand to heart, one hand to belly, or both hands to heart. We could return, of course, to prayer hands or that first finger released mudra, inviting in joy, releasing negativity. There is no one right way, so we can try them all. Both hands to heart, one hand to heart, or our hand position that we started with. Settling on one that feels good, and that may mean none of them at all. Breathing into our heart space here. We can picture warmth emanating from our hearts. We may picture a very detailed candle glowing a certain color, having wax of a certain color, a simple white tea light, or something else entirely. Often it's more of a feeling and less of a visual. So we can stay here and do this as a seated meditation. Of course, you may prefer to write. And I'm going to read our prompts for today. All right. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes and breathe naturally into the area of your heart, the heart space in the center of your chest. Feel this space gently opening. Release any tension with the out breath. Breathe in softness and openness with each in-breath. Release any need for effort. Continue with this breathing pattern, breathing naturally and sinking into the heart space. The heart rhythm is the center of our deepest feelings and provides clues to the inner working of our lives. What in your life feels like it is moving in the right rhythm? What in your life feels like it is moving in the right rhythm? What in your life feels out of rhythm? Where in your life do you feel stability and a calmer pace? So I've dropped them in the chat and I will read them again. What in your life feels in rhythm? What in your life feels out of rhythm? Where in your life do you feel stability and a calmer pace? We might like to add on a layer of gratitude. Is there an area of your life that feels in rhythm, whether that's joy or calm, that we're grateful for? Can we identify an area of our lives that feels out of rhythm, that we are ready to release? And I'll give us just another minute here. Now we've been seated for a little while. There may be something that you'd like to do to release any tension that's built up. Often a nice one is a wide-legged forward fold. So if anyone's still writing or journaling, please don't let me rush you. But if you are ready to come into some movement, that is totally okay. And I will let you know that we're gonna move our way down to lie down. So take your time finishing up. If you're writing, being pensive, or any kind of seated stretches, we are going to make our way to lie on our backs. And maybe not the most high energy joy, but once we are lying on our backs, can we once more move in a joyful way? This may be a more peaceful way at this point. Can we do a long stretch? Give ourselves a hug. Maybe take our knees in circles. Circle the ankles. And to ground some of our joyful, flighty energy that we produced, let's come into upward facing leg pose. You may know it as waterfall. We can spread our toes A good one actually for practicing movements of the toes because we can see them. They're right in front of our eye line. We can spread our fingers to help us spread our toes. We can have quite a knee bend here as well. So if hamstrings are feeling really tight, if it feels like a lot of work to pull in, let's see where we can release some effort. And we can take our hands under our hips. We may also like to do one leg at a time. Thank you for the message in the chat. Glad to hear it. All right, let's draw in the right leg and stretch out the left. I like to draw a circle or bend and straighten. We'll bring knees to chest and switch sides. We can bend and straighten. We can draw a circle. Noticing everywhere in the body now that we are feeling heavy. Allowing that strong, fiery energy that we have developed to come down to just embers. Noticing how we're feeling, and there may be some final stretch you would like to pull in. Maybe a bridge, a twist, a happy baby, a pigeon, something like that. No rush at all. And then we will make our way into our final relaxation. So we can stay lying on the back for that. But of course we call it final relaxation, so I do encourage you to choose any position that you find relaxing. Lying flat on the back is not everyone's cup of tea. I've had participants that like to lie on their front, side, stay seated, standing, find a chair. It's all good. Absolutely no need to move from where you are. That is the end of our official time together. As always, thank you so much for joining me. From my light to yours, namaste.